My mom has a really big obsession with plants. Ever since I was little, she's had plants growing all throughout our house. Frankly, I hate them, but they take up so much room and they're so annoying. Every time I tell her that, though, she gets upset and tells me that they're important. I usually just shrug it off like many do. However, today we're going to discuss why plants are important to us, the structure that makes them a living species, and finally the basis on which they have a consciousness. So eventually we can stop the mass amounts of trees and plants from being killed off due to their so-called lack of importance. So why are plants important? Each and every day we rely on plants. They create so much more than just pretty and colorful sights for us. Plants create two very important things to the human race. They provide food and oxygen. John Hewitson from the American Society of Plant Biologists in 2016 says in an article quote, that we rely on plants that make proteins for us and we need these proteins for our growth. The same goes for vitamins and partly for fats and oils. He also goes on to state that plants can take simple sugars and turn them into complicated chemicals. According to Botanic Gardens Conservation International, there are approximately 7,000 different plant species that have been or are used for food. The most important things that plants create, however, is oxygen. As a byproduct is the process of photosynthesis. Seeming very simple to us, the process is actually very complicated. But it's extremely important to our daily lives because we can't live without oxygen. Another frequently asked question is, are plants really a living species? Since they don't function as living organisms, as much as it is true that they don't hold all of the characteristics, they are a living species. This is why a study done at the Deakin University in 2014 showed that plants respire, move, respond to stimuli, reproduce, and growth are adapted with complex living of things within the environment. Going on to explain that when a plant is picked or cut, some basic life process will continue to occur. The plant will undergo some type of death process that shows that it had once been living. Dennis O'Neill, author of The Linnean System of Sublime in 2013, shows that another way we can perceive plants as a living species is by the fact that they produce young and offspring. With this, we can disprove the beliefs of those stating that since plants do not move, that they're not living. Finally, we're going to discuss the basis on which plants have a consciousness. You're right, it is rare that you will find an audience that thinks this to be true. Plants can't think, right? Actually, that's wrong. In a 2014 article, New Research on Plant Intelligence May Forever Change How You Think About Plants by Michael Pollan, author of The Botany Desire and the Omnivore's Dilemma, writes that plants in some ways are intelligent and they can sense, learn, remember, and even react in ways to be found similar to humans. He goes on to state, quote, that they have always been talking about taking in sensory data they gather in their everyday lives, integrate it, and behave appropriate way to respond. And they do this all without brains. Which, in a way, that's incredible about it because automatically we all assume that you can't think without a brain. Which seems strange to us, but plants can process information, Pollan says. Plants have all the same senses as humans do, and then some. In addition to hearing, taste, for example, they can sense gravity, the presence of water, or even feel the obstruction in the way of its roots before coming into contact with it. A policy that is going to lead to the change of killing plants and trees is by discussing the importance specifically as being aware to killing them, it only creates more issues. But why does it matter? Because plants are dying at an alarming rate. We are constantly killing off trees and other forestation for infrastructural purposes. It may sound stupid to save all of these plants, but plants are pertinent to our lives for food and oxygen. And as much as one may not believe, plants do have a consciousness. So as we discussed today, plants are important. They are a living species and they do have a consciousness. So yeah, I may not really like the presence of plants in my house, but we need them. So I guess I'm just going to have to let my crazy mom keep on growing them. Thank you.